Hey guys, Clinton here once again. So our next segment in Taking Care of Business, this is what the show is called, Taking Care of Business. We're going to talk to a gentleman who is making it online. He's making it in the online space, and we're going to be picking his brain as to what it takes to first of all start an online business, and secondly manage a successful online business. So I'm going to call Anton quickly to start his video, and then we'll get started. All right.
How's it, Clinton?
Anton, how are you, man?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, good. Thanks for being on the show. Basically, what the show is just to empower entrepreneurs to either start a business or grow their current business. So just briefly, how did you start your journey into becoming an entrepreneur, and more importantly, becoming a digital entrepreneur?
So I've been an entrepreneur all my life. There were stages that I was employed, and then I did my own thing again. And currently, I am I'm employed, and I'm doing. I've got a business that I'm running.
Okay.
And so I've had the entrepreneurial mindset all my life, and I was always busy thinking. What I can do. And the digital lifestyle, or the digital business, really started actually in 2017. I was looking for a way how we can have more customers on a constant basis.
Okay.
And
it's important.
Yes, of course. And so I obviously started with the obvious search lines on the internet, and how to find customers, and how to do this and how to do that. And I realized what opportunity there is to actually do this as a service. And I've managed to school myself in the digital online business. And there's nice training courses out there.
Mm-hmm.
Clinton, I'm not sure if this is the platform to say where we learned all of this, but I don't know if you want
I think we can chat about that in a bit. The first thing I want to ask you is something that you mentioned, which I think is very important, not just from an online business point of view, but from an entrepreneurial point of view. Is you mentioned you've always had an entrepreneurial mindset. Now, was that always there? Or did you have to grow into that mindset?
No, it was always there. I remember even at school, I was in my high school life. I was on a boarding school, and I remember that on Sunday nights we jump on the bus back to school, and then I would have enough money to be on the bus to do a up and down trip.
Yeah.
And then where we got up on the bus, there was a little shop next door. So I've spent all my bus money on buying whatever I could find in the shop, and then I sell it on the bus. And then when we get to school, I've 10x'd my money. So I think at the time it was like 10 rand for up and down trip, but I ended up with 100 rand in my pocket. So,
wow, that is amazing from a young age,
Yeah. So, but I think the thing that obviously when I started my business, I made all the mistakes in the book. I didn't had the normal formal training that most of the people would have. I immediately started my business, and I remember my very first invoice I charged VAT, and the customer phoned me and said, "But are you VAT registered?" And I said, "No, but I see everybody charge VAT." So that was that was the level of my knowledge, business knowledge. So I really knew nothing. and I obviously made all the mistakes. So today, I'm quite streetwise in business, I think, and you know, but that's the one thing I want to get to, Clinton, is that the most important thing that if you're trying to start a business now is to try to know yourself. You know, you must understand who you are and what are your strong points and what are your weak points.
Yeah.
You know, it took me a very long time to realize what my strong points are and my weak points. So, and then when you realize that, because your strong points is also the tasks that gives you energy, and the weak points is the tasks that really drains you. And you need to identify that. You need to know that.
I agree, and a lot of people, what they try and do in that regard is they look at their strong points and they look at their weak points, and they try and improve those weak points to get stronger. Where what we should really be doing is be doubling down on our strong points and making sure that, you know, the things that you're strong at, you're doing more and more. I think too many people focus on their weak points and try to move those along the scale to try and get better. How do you feel about that?
No, I think what you should do is you should rather outsource your weaker points, and there's so many tools available today that that you can do that. You know, so don't try to do the things that you're not good at. Rather outsource and make sure that when you've got an idea, make sure that you've got a team, even if it's a virtual team. It doesn't have to be someone on your payroll. Just identify people who's good at bookkeeping, and you know, and make sure you outsource that if that's not your strong point. Administration, make sure you outsource that if that is not your strong point. Obviously now talk about myself, you know, bookkeeping and admin is not necessarily my strong point. And make sure you outsource that on a pay as you need basis. And, you know, keep the overheads low, and try to run as lean as possible, especially in times like this. You know, we are all faced with a huge uncertain times. And we don't know, you know, what's going to happen tomorrow. And if you've got your overheads low, you know, then your chances of survival is just better. It's
I think
not true for everybody.
I think what we're going to be doing on Wednesday, I think it's on Wednesday, our show on Wednesday, is we're actually going to be discussing the business model of a virtual assistant, you know, and how easy it is actually to start an online business via that route. Yes, you're not going to make millions and millions, but it's a start and it's a kickstart for people to actually start an online business. But that's coming up on Wednesday. What I wanted to ask, which is something that you brought up, is from a young age, you had a entrepreneurial mindset. You know, you kind of took your bus money and went to the shop and 10 times the amount. Do you think that people are born with that kind of skill or that kind of mindset, or is it something that people can develop over time? And one of the great examples is people that are in sales. You know, people are often talked about as, you know, natural salespeople, or, you know, they can never be a salesperson. What are your views on people thinking that they're not naturally born to do something, but can they actually do that something?
That's a very interesting point, Clinton. I think in some extent you are born with certain skills, but it's definitely, I think your environment and where you grow up or where you grew up is what shapes you. There's a book out by a lady, Dr. Caroline Leaf. She is a neuroscientist, and she talks about neuroplasticity. That's the correct way of saying it. Where she actually makes you understand that the way you do things today and the way you think about things today, it doesn't necessarily have to be like that. You can sort of reprogram your mind.
Yeah.
And she's got a whole program how to do that. So it's definitely possible to acquire new skills. But there's definitely a core inside of you, and that is who you are. And I would say, find out who's that core, and then if there are skills that it's skills that you need, and they are sort of close by to your core, I think you definitely can improve on that and adapt to that. But don't try to go and grab a skill that's miles away, you know.
Yeah, I think I totally agree with that. I think there are certain elements to, you know, being naturally gifted at something. You know, I know a lot of friends of mine that are naturally gifted at sports, for example. But I also strongly believe that, you know, if you can't do something today, there's no reason why, with practice and hard work and dedication, tomorrow you're not going to be able to do that thing. Okay, so talking about skills, you know, I'm sure you didn't wake up, you know, one morning and think, you know what, I've got all these skills to be a digital entrepreneur. I know how to run Facebook ads. I know how to create websites. I know how to, you know, run whatever for clients. How did you find the process of upskilling yourself to eventually become or be where you are today, which obviously we are going to talk about it in a little bit. But how did you find that process of, you know, first of all, finding the right, you know, training, getting through all of the noise, because especially in this industry, there's so many people, you know, that have online courses that will change your life and will make you millions. How did you, you know, sift through all that noise and choose a platform and upskill yourself to the level where today you are able to run a successful online business?
I think when you look for any training course, you must look for something that asks accountability. There are so much information and so many training courses available on the internet, and some of them are cheap, some of them are not are expensive, and you know, so my criteria was, I'm looking for something that's got accountability connected to it, meaning there's a proper follow-up program, there's a proper program where there's support, and even when you're done with the training, there's still follow-up and support, and that was the criteria I was looking for, and I did found it. And I must say, you know, I was telling a friend the other day, he asked me, so how was this training? So it's like they take you by the hand and they start running, and you literally skin off your knees on the tar road, if that's a way to say it. And when you're done with the training, it's like a cow laying under a tree. You know, I don't know the English word for it. Is a cow. They sort of redigest their food, and it takes them a couple of hours to do it. And that's more or less the picture I want to draw. Is they take you so quickly through all the available elements that's there, and then when you're done, you know, it takes another couple of weeks to understand what you've just learned. But and that's definitely the training I can recommend. You know, it's not a breeze to do it, but there's so many material. Even now, when we are done with the training, you know, the material is still available. You can go back to it. You can still delve into it and you know, look what's happening. And the other thing is, if you look for someone that can help you with the training, you're definitely looking for a company that's that's quite reputable and it's out there, because the landscape of the digital training or the digital tools that's out there changes so quickly that you really do need support and help all the time. Even if you can find a few students that went through the training, if you can form like a group and then support each other, I would recommend that. So yeah, it was quite a journey to learn all of these new things, but the most important thing that stood out, Clinton, was this is like receiving a toolbox, but if you don't do anything with the toolbox, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I saw that with so many students, because you sort of start to build relationships with fellow students. And what I did notice is that some of them, they went through the training and they thought, okay, now the heaven is going to open and it's going to pour down on them. But it's not the case. It's just what you've received is a toolbox and a guide how to use the tools. So you still need to apply common sense and basic business ethics and business knowledge. It still applies. It's just that you learn. You've gained an extra toolbox, in short.
Yeah, I think I totally agree with you. We've obviously done the same training, so that's how this call came about. But since I finished, and I finished in, when did I finish? In November last year, I think. The amount of training I've done after that is almost just as much. So I think so many people, what they do is they finish a course and like, okay, now I'm ready to upskill myself and to earn an income from what I've learned. And then things get hard, and they don't get as many clients as they think they were going to. And then they're like, well, this doesn't work. Obviously the training I did doesn't work. And then that's the end of it. And then they go back to, maybe a job that they left, or they, just toss this, opportunity aside, where, this is not an overnight thing. You have to put in the work, and you have to, like you said, you've been given the tools. You haven't been given, a whole, if I can compare it to a car, you've been given the body of the car. You still need to put in the engine, and you need to put on the tires, and you need to put in the gearbox, because that's how the world works. Nothing is going to fall on your lap, and you have to still put in a lot of work to make it work. And I agree with you. I see so many people complete the training, and some of them do very well, and then when it comes to the end and they don't have that hand holding anymore, it falls apart. And
Absolutely.
I think that there's a specific mindset and a specific attitude for people that are going to make it in their own business and are going to make it as a entrepreneur. And the sad reality is that not everyone is going to, and no matter how much you spend on training and on coaching, if you don't have that correct mindset and that correct mentality and attitude, I just think you're kind of wasting your time. But saying that, I also do believe that everyone can grow into that mentality and grow into that attitude. So it's not all doom and gloom for people that think, what, this isn't for me, I can't do this. Now, tell us a little bit about what you are doing and what the training that you did equipped you to do. Because as I mentioned, I'm sure you didn't fall out of bed one day and like, what, I can be whatever I want to be. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. There was obviously a process. There was a process of choosing the right course. There was a process of doing the training. And now that you've done it and you've got equipped to do what you're doing, tell us a little bit about what exactly it is you do, and how these tools that you have equipped you to do what you're doing.
Yeah, so Clinton, so I started digital marketing agency, and that's basically a service that I deliver to help businesses um, getting more customers through their door. You can call it leads if you like. And we use available social media platforms that's out there, and it can be something like Facebook, Google, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn. All these platforms that's out there is basically a congregation of people. And you can I want to use this example. If you want to talk to people about religion, then go to a church. If you want to talk to people about a sporting event, then go to the soccer stadium or the rugby stadium.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is certain groups congregate at certain places. So, and it's the same with all these media platforms. There's tools within Facebook and Google and YouTube and all these platforms. There's tools to target certain audiences within these platforms where they congregate. Meaning you can have like subgroups within.
Right.
And so the first skill that you learn is how to identify those congregations or audiences. And also the very first question you must ask your customer is, who is your client? And there's a formula how to find that perfect customer or define that customer. And then within this business, we look for certain people that equals the ideal customer of a client, and we find them in these social media platforms. We bring them to a landing page. It's not a website, it's a landing page, meaning there's no multiple pages, there's no contact link and what we do link and find us here link. It's just a landing page is a place where you're focusing on the product that you're selling. And the purpose of a landing page is to get someone's contact details. And that contact details will go to a database, which is then available to the customer to follow up on. Obviously, once you've got the customer's details, you can start to complicate the landing page because you've got his details and you can always follow up. But then you can do things like upsell, or you can introduce more info and have multiple pages following that. And then, of course, these leads can be followed up with a CRM system. A CRM system is something like MailChimp or ActiveCampaign. There's so many platforms out there, which is basically an automated email platform.
Okay.
And we'll then follow up on the customers, and that in itself can be a campaign. And then you can, with all this information then available, you can then start to retarget the customers. So it's basically an automation of fishing for customers and producing high quality leads that's worth money for the end user, meaning they will become paying customers. So that's what we do. We find paying customers out there for the end user to use or to make use of. So
I think
it sounds, it's a mouthful, but sorry, Clinton. Yes.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I think that's very important in today's, times, especially now, after this whole pandemic, and, we're obviously not going to get into, the coronavirus, but customers are going to be like a commodity, and a commodity that's going to be very rare, because so many businesses have lost customers. So many businesses are going to close their doors. So I think the skills that someone like you are going to bring to the small business owner and the small and medium business enterprises is massive, and I think there are so many digital marketing agencies out there, and so many marketing agencies that focus on a lot of metrics and focus on a lot of things that maybe don't matter as much to a small business owner that they do to a bigger enterprise. I mean, I've just had experience of a lot of marketing agencies focusing on building a really nice looking website, or making sure that you've got 1 million likes on your Facebook page, or making sure that they're engaging. If someone writes a comment, it's someone in the company that's thank you for the comments, and they're replying. But at the end of the day, do those things really matter? And do those things really help the bottom line of a small business owner who now is going to be worrying where his rent's coming from? It's going to be worrying about how to place an order because, having not been in business for so long. So I think it's not just a service that someone like you offers. It's a way out for a lot of business owners.
Absolutely. I think lead generation, if I can use the analogy of a car, lead generation is the engine, and the website, the fancy website, is the color you choose, of your car. It's nice to have a nice looking website, but whether it's blue, green, or black, it's not going to change.
No.
When you turn your key, is the engine going to start?
No.
So I would say lead generation is the heart of the business. The focus is not to have a fancy website. The focus is not to have a fancy Facebook page. It's the core focus is getting interested leads or customers into your door, turning into paying customers. That's the core, and that's what we do. We bring those to you. If you've got someone looking after your website with all fancy colors, and it's nice. I won't say don't do it. It's nice to have that. By the way, we can do that too, but it's not our focus. Keep on doing it. There's nothing wrong polishing your website. But what we do is focusing on delivering leads that convert. That's what we do.
Okay, that's great. And I it just comes down to it again is that's what businesses want. They want more customers. They want more sales, which in turns profits. So
absolutely.
So as I've been bringing this up a lot. I've been bringing up the fact that you didn't just roll out of bed one day and you had all these skills and like, all right, I'm going to start a lead generation business and I'm going to get clients and make money. How have you found the learning curve to learn all these skills, and how did you know you were ready to sign your first client? Because it must have been daunting. You've done this course, now it's like, all right, now a business owner has to put their livelihood in my hands, that I'm going to bring them customers and I'm going to bring them in clients. How did you find that those initial steps out of the blocks? Like, all right, I've done my training. They've been holding my hand for the however many weeks that the training course was. Now it's the real world. Now you have to go and find a client and try and convince them that you are the right person to change their life and bring them in the business that they want. How did you find that whole process?
Well, obviously that's can be intimidating, but like I said, I've been in an entrepreneur all my life, and I've been doing business since after school. So I know what it is to do business, and I know what it is to fail. I know what it is to have success. So I had so many stories I could tell, when I engaged with potential customers, that there was so many things where we could relate, and then you build trust quickly. So I would say the first thing, what worked for me is when you sell the service, start by asking your potential customer, asking me his story. How did he come about? How did he start his business? What was his ups and downs? And then you quickly find hooks where you can relate, and you can start to share stories, and you can start to share experiences, and you build trust. And that's the first thing you need to do, is you need to build trust. So that trust can come with a referral or a cold call. A cold call is obviously takes longer, and you need to build a trust. But a referral is very easy and it's quick, because my friend said, or this businessman said, and that's the ideal situation. So to answer your question, did it come easy? No, it didn't come easy. Was it a bit intimidating? Yes. Was it enjoyable? Absolutely. I enjoy engaging with fellow entrepreneurs. I understand the stories of, I don't know how I'm going to see it through the end of this month. I know exactly what it is, and and the moment you can relate, then then there's a mutual feeling and understanding, and also trust. So and the current situation doesn't make things better.
No, not at all.
It's I think even if in a digital space, I personally think this is a good space to be. The playing field will definitely change, but if you schooled in the digital space, whether it's delivering a service or selling something, like on an e-commerce store or something like that, I think you're in a good space. But still, common sense apply, and business skills. That's the most important.
Unfortunately, I have this saying. Unfortunately, common sense isn't too common with a lot of people. Cool. Well, there's just one more thing I want to ask, and it's more of you giving advice. So the whole purpose of this, series of, live videos that we're doing is to try and, give people opportunity to, themselves start a business and start an online business, because a lot of people start an online business for various reasons. Maybe they want to spend more time with their family, their kids, maybe they want to make more money, maybe they don't want to sit in traffic. So whatever the reason is, having an online business is a very lucrative thing. So from your experience, and I'm talking about from when you first decided to maybe start an online business, to finding a course to do, to doing the course, to finishing the course, to trying to find clients and going through the hardships of trying to find clients, what is your advice to someone that is looking to start an online business, become an entrepreneur? Obviously it's not all sunshine and rainbows all the time, but what is your best advice for someone wanting to do that? Give me your top 5 bits of advice for someone wanting to start a business, and in particular online business.
You've got me on the nose there with top 5, but I would definitely say compare it with planting a tree. When was the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. So when was the best time to start a digital business? 5 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
The second best time is now. So I would definitely recommend it. Whether you are going to deliver a service or want to sell your own services, whether you're going to deliver a business service like an agency, or whether you want to use the skill promoting your own products, you can't go wrong. It's definitely something. Clinton, you've got me there on the 5.
No, don't worry about 5. I always like these top 5 things, But if you can only give me 2 or 3, that's fine also. Just really want some solid advice for someone looking to start an online business.
Yeah, I definitely think that, especially of what's happening now, you need to get your business lean and mean, and digital is the way. So to come back to number it, one has definitely started now, to virtualize your team, virtualize your services if you can, and get also collaboration in digital space is much easier, and obviously you travel light when you do this. It's a and your input cost starting a digital business is very low. Basically, you need a good internet connection. You obviously need a skill, so you will invest some money in training, and you'll invest some money in monthly software packages that's out there to deliver the service. But I would say to deliver a retainer service of 100,000 a month, you probably will spend about 20,000 Rand a month on software packages and related services. Might be a little bit more, but not much. So your investment and return ratio is just it's a no-brainer. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, cool, man. Well, thanks for taking the time to share your story and to give us some advice. And let's hope that everyone that watches this takes inspiration and takes that leap. I think that's the most important thing. People like, I really want to start an online business, and then they start doing some research, and then like, tomorrow I'll maybe think about it, and then tomorrow becomes next week, and next week becomes next month, and then next year. So I think one of the points that you made is very important, is do it now. Now is the time. Now is the perfect time. So don't stop procrastinating. I'm really bad at that. Stop procrastinating and just go for it. Just do it. Yeah, thanks.
Great.
Thanks for your time, and yeah, let's hope that this video inspires people to become digital entrepreneurs.
No, that's awesome. Thank you for having me. Thanks, Clinton.
Yeah.